Okay, good morning folks. Welcome to another episode of 4 visa questions in 5 minutes. Today's are all about the Skill Select and EOI systems. So let's get cracking. Question 1. Can I change my occupation without it changing my EOI effect date? Short answer, yes you can. So if for example you have an EOI in as an accountant at 80 points and you see auditor moving quicker than that and you have a skills assessment, let's say as an external auditor, you can change your occupation on the EOI and it doesn't change the effect date. If you change your points for age, English, any of the factors, it does change the effect date, but not changing your occupation. Okay, question 2. How does the Skill Select system work in working out who will get a 189 invitation each round? Okay, so it's quite complicated, but we'll take an example just for January. We think 1,300 invitations were given. We think the department allocated 700 to non-pro rata and 600 to the pro rata occupations, roughly. Now, of that 600, there was, we think, approximately 103 were given for accountants, 37 for auditor, 8 for electronics engineer, etc., etc. So when the department triggered the January round, they were trying to invite the top 1,300 people. And each person that they look at the top scoring person first of all. That person will clearly get an invite because they won't have used all the 1,300 places, and they won't have used all the places for that person's occupation yet because they were the top scoring person. That person will get an invite. They might have been at 90 points. Eventually they'll work their way down, all the top scoring people, and obviously equal scores, they'll then order them on who's been in the EOI system the longest as an effect date, and let's say they get to number 100 in that list. Now when they get to the 100th person, they'll ask themselves, have all 1,300 places been used yet? No, it's only place number 100. Have all the places for that occupation been used yet? So if for example they were an auditor and they were at 80 points and all 37 auditors that we think were allocated for that round had got an invite, and they were number 38, they won't get an invite and they'll just have to wait for another round. And then they'll go to the next scoring person, the 101st person on their list. Eventually they will fill up all their 1,300 places by asking themselves 2 questions each time. 1, have all the 1,300 been used yet? And if they haven't, have all the numbers for that person's occupation been used yet? If they haven't, they'll get an invite. If they have used all those places, they won't get an invite and they'll have to wait for a subsequent round. Okay, question 3. How many EOIs are being wasted at the moment? So a lot of EOIs are in the system getting invitations and people are not accepting those invitations. And that could be for many reasons. Often it's because they've got an invite through a different EOI, or they've applied for employee nomination. There might be a number of personal reasons why they haven't done that. They might have multiple EOIs in the system. So when one's not accepted, when an invitation is not accepted, then that wastes an invitation for that round, and then in 60 days time it goes back into the system and it gets wasted again. Now the last time we made an analysis on this, our opinion was 25% of invitations have been wasted. So in the last round, 1,300 invitations, we think certainly at least 25% were wasted. So what's that? Maybe about 350. Now we're trying to get information from the department about whether that wasted invitation number has increased, because we think it has. And as soon as we get that, we'll post an article on our website and on Facebook. Okay, question 4. Should I put in extra EOIs in case my current one finishes after 2 years? So an EOI only lasts for 2 years in the system. The waiting time is becoming so long that there's often a chance someone's EOI will finish before they get an invitation. Now, if you're sitting there at 70 points and you're working really, really hard to get more points, and then after, say, 8 months you get another 5 points and get yourself to 75, you must put in a second EOI. Don't just live and hope on that first EOI being upgraded to 75 points, because if it's taking you, let's say, 9 or 10 months to get to that mark, then if you upgrade your points, it's only got about 14 months left, and that may not give you enough time to get an invitation. So it's really important that every time you increase your points, you put in an extra expression of interest. You don't just update your current expression of interest. The other thing is, if the waiting time is becoming a long time and you are getting close to an invitation after 2 years and you just miss out by a month or two, because your invitation would have taken, say, 2 years and 2 months to get an invite, well, after 2 years it's gone. And if you've been waiting, and then it disappears after 2 years, and you've got no other EOI in the system, you go right back to zero. You put in a new EOI, you have to start all again, and all those people who were behind you are now in front of you. So we think you should put in an EOI almost every couple of months into the system, so that if one drops out because it becomes 2 years old, at least you have another one that is only a couple of months younger, I guess, and might get an invite before your time runs out. Now that comes with a big but as well, in that when you do get an invite, withdraw all your other EOIs, okay? Because as I mentioned in question 3, those EOIs in the system that people don't need anymore and they're leaving it in there are taking invitations. Now ultimately it won't matter, because if the department wants 18,000, 20,000 invitations or 18, 20,000 visa applicants, if they have to invite 30,000 to get it, then eventually they'll have to do that. So it won't affect the overall visa grant, but it's really frustrating individually for people who are waiting to know there are some wasted EOIs in the system. So when you certainly put in extra EOIs to protect your position, but once you get an invite, withdraw all the other ones. Okay, that's it for another day. If you've got any questions at all, drop us an email to migration@iscar.com. And if you want some expert management of your visa application, drop us an email to the same address. Have a great day.